Willie, I'm so glad we're doing this. And when I set out to write this book, it was because I kept hearing the same thing from people, especially like smart, talented people, right? They who would say, "I hate networking. I don't like it," but they just kind of go because they're a profession, maybe, or they are business owners. So when you hear that, what do you think it's really like at the heart of it? Like, why do you think people like feel challenged by it?
Because they don't think outside their own box. They are stuck in their own knowledge base, their own structure. They don't realize that a lot of people out there can help them in a very systematic and very professional way.
Right. I guess that's a mismatch happening, right? We are told to go and network to get something. So we put on a mask and collect contacts like trophies.
Yeah,
And it feels empty, right? So
yeah.
I know because that was me. For example, I write in the preface about my own resistance. I saw networking as a distraction from my real work and my family.
But think about it. Why would people help you if you go to networking asking? If you don't bring something down yourself, you
Right.
have to
No, I hear you.
open a dialogue, open a discussion, make it easy for people to think about you and to help you.
Right. No, I agree with you. Like I said, for me, it was inexperience and the knowledge about networking, right? I was told, you go there and that's how you network, right? So it's more of a conforming to the situation of a business environment, right? Nobody really teaches us. Obviously, a lot of us come to a knowing after we kind of got burned and had a bad experience. So let me ask you, when you first met me, could you sense the resistance in me, like that I didn't like networking?
Yeah, and I see that in a lot of people. It's in their face. Uh, they have like a mask, like a protective shield. They don't like people to look into their own life and their own situation, and they feel scared maybe, or they feel dangerous. They want to protect themselves.
I No, I think I agree with you because for me, like I was very skeptical when I started it, and then when I met you and I watched you, you weren't collecting cards like I was, so you were having real conversations, right? So in the book, Willie's perspective, the timeless value of authentic connection section, I talk about your approach. So for you, was this always about, long-term connection, not the short-term transaction?
It's always about other people and establishing long-term relations. Short term, you're not going to get much. Long term, you're going to get people that really are embedded in your situation and want to help you. And that's fundamental. Same thing like in friendship. You can have a very simple friendship that doesn't really mean much. But if you go deeper and deeper and deeper, then it becomes very valuable for both sides. That's what
Oh,
networking is all about. You build that friendship relation to be able to help each other for long term.
right. I think that was for me a big shift, realizing the problem isn't networking, but it is the transactional script of it. So, like
Yeah.
I said, we were told just go there, represent yourself. Or how do they say it? Say your elevator pitch. And then
Mm-hmm.
you kind of like going there with a short term, not thinking about that you don't know if you're ever going to meet these people sometimes, right? So that script leaves people feeling drained. I wrote this book because you showed me a different way. Like that was for me the shift and the heart of this book. And it's obviously that's why I called it real overreach.
Networking is ask questions. I want to understand who the people are that I'm talking to. I'll never present myself first. I always want to understand who else is there, what do they do, what are their needs, where are they going, uh, and that's usually opens the discussion much better than otherwise.
Right. So you were basically choosing authenticity over accumulation. Like you weren't there to accumulate people or business cards. You were there to connect authentically and kind of finding out like where they are, what are they doing, right? So I think for me, that was the, I guess, biggest click. It was like a light bulb moment as I was learning from you as my mentor. So was there a time in your career though where choosing real paid off in a way that Rich never could?
I've been a CEO of 10 companies, and through the years, I became a servant leader. And when you get to that level, what you basically do is you try to help people get better. And my objective was to find people that I could teach and make leaders so that I could disappear. They would take over and do much better. And that's basically the opposite of what a manager is. A manager wants to control. And that's what a lot of people see also in networking. They want to control the situation. I'm just the opposite. I want to open the whole discussion, the whole process, so that everybody can benefit from it. And the more you try to help other people, the more you'll find that you yourself can step back and other people will be very successful because you've built trust, you've been yourself. You don't create an artificial, you create really an authentic relation.
Right. So you are basically building trust through authentic, activities and the way you are handling your team and you're leading your company. So I think that's definitely a proof that trust built on authenticity what lasts, right? So that realization also, my own story. I share it in the introduction section. So moving from Kazakhstan to Texas was a culture shock for me. In Kazakhstan, communication was very direct. And in Texas, it was like wonderfully polite. But for me, it was confusing, right? So, and I always wondered, was this kindness real? Like, I don't know, just at some point, sometimes it felt fake. And it was very difficult transition for me. So I felt because of that, I had to soften my own edges to fit in. And it made connections like feel fake. Like, I don't know, it just didn't feel right naturally. So here's what I learned. And in the book, authenticity isn't about being the same everywhere, right? It's about being genuine within the context. It's bringing your real curiosity, like you mentioned earlier, your real desire to help, not a sales persona to the conversation, right?
Yeah. In my case, it was a little bit different. As I grew up, I went to university and most of our courses were in English. And my first job was for an American company, for Westinghouse. So I understood very quickly the difference between European mentality and American mentality. Uh, One was more surface based, the other one was deeper relations based. But it didn't bother me too much because I was only 25 years old at the time. So I was easy, flexible, I could adapt. And as I grew inside an American environment, I understood very much the difference in culture between the two civilizations. And that has helped me tremendously to understand Japanese culture, Brazilian culture, Russian culture. Uh, and I've been able to adapt to different situations and different ways of building relations among the different cultures. And they are so very different. So, for example, the networking that we do in the US does not work in Europe. That's not the same culture, it's not the same way of working. So you have to adapt to where you are and to where you live and be honest with yourself. And that usually comes through very nicely.
Right. So both of us basically prove that this is a learnable skill.
Yep.
That we can adapt to whatever the environment we're in or culture. It just takes a little bit of time understanding. So, what's one simple choice someone can make to to a signal like I'm here for real? Like when you go to networking, I want to signal I'm really here for real conversation, not just high level touch points.
Ask questions. Try to understand who the people are that you're meeting, what their interest is, what their function is, where do they work, do they have children, do they have hobbies, where where do they see problems, where do they have difficulties, try to understand who they are and what they do, and try to help them. That has always been my most successful way of networking, is to try to find out what other people need.
Well, that's a wonderful tip. So I think now we're going to go from having a problem, which is the broken script, right? And that's why we wrote a book, which will give people a pivot, which is real overreach. Instead of reaching, let's be real. So that leads again to the core idea. Connection is the currency, authenticity is the value. So you can have 1,000 connections, but without authenticity, that's hollow, right? Because without authenticity, there is no trust.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% right. And you'll find it after you finish your network or you go to another situation and nobody follows you, nobody helps you. It's because you've not been honest in the beginning. You've not been trustworthy. You've not been authentic. If you have been authentic and you've been open and honest and be yourself, people are going to respect that. And even when you disappear in another situation, they will still help you because they like who you are and what you've done.
Yeah. Well, that's why we wrote the book, to give people a new script, right? So, Willy, if someone takes away one thing from Real Overreach, what do you hope it is?
Building long-term trust by authenticity. That's as simple as that. Don't make it complicated. It's simple. Stay true to yourself. That means first understand yourself, your inner self. Make sure that you understand it very well. And then use that inner self capacity and knowledge to help other people. And I've done that millions of times in my career, and it works very nice. It creates a lot of value, not necessarily for myself. I don't need it for myself. I need it for other people. Yeah, and think about something else. You network normally without any problem with your wife or your husband because you have a deep relation. You network reasonably well with your family because you know them, you know where they come from, and so on, and you know their history. With your children, same thing. With your friends, it's already a little bit more complicated, but if you establish long-term relations with friends, the networking is easy. How do you translate that to strangers, people you have never met before? That's where the real difficulty lies for most people. And I think you should do the same thing as you do with your family and your friends and your spouses. Open yourself up. Ask them questions to understand who they are. And the more you do that, the more they will open up and the more you will understand and the more you'll be able to help. And that's really how you build trust and authenticity.
And that's why we didn't just want to have this conversation. We built a whole guide around it. Willy, I thank you for your friendship, for today's conversation, and for your mentorship. It's been a very good living example of everything we have done in the book with you. So choose Real Overreach. We will see you in the next chapter. So if this conversation resonates with you, if you are tired of transactional game and want to build a network that feels authentic and powerful, then this book is for you. So here is invitation. First, get the book. It's your guide to a new way of connecting. Then share what you think. Leave an honest review or email us. Your story helps others. And finally, stay connected with us. Visit realoverreach.com for more resources to join the conversation. This is really just the beginning.